Hawks fans, stand up. Dude, we are less than 1 week away from the NBA draft. And I'm not like, I am a Hawks fan. I don't want to sound biased, but we always do good in the draft. Like, I understand it hasn't actually resulted in much regular season success so far. But like you talked about last year, I would still pick Risa Jade at 1 in a redraft. Kobe Buffkin's just been hurt, his whole career so far. Even though in the 20 games he played in his rookie year, he was the best defender on the team, of course, before Dyson Daniels. We got unlucky in 2022 when AJ Griffin just fell out of love for basketball after being the most clutch player of all time in his rookie season. Jalen Johnson, obviously great, and then Onyeka Okongwu was the best center in that draft class. So I do have some absolutely high expectations when it comes to the Hawks winning the draft because it seems like we always do our part. We just need some good free agent luck that we've never had before. So this is my guide to the Hawks winning the NBA draft once again. Now we're going to start with players that we have absolutely no chance of getting, and that is Cooper Flagg, Dylan Harper, VJ Edgecombe. I'm not even going to talk about, if we should trade up for that, because if there are 1,000 multiverses, we don't trade up for that in a single one. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about whether we should trade up or just stay. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and give my opinion right now. I think the Hawks should trade up to pick 7 or 8. Because I don't think we need 2 first-round picks. I think the Hawks' depth is enough. We have Buffkin off the bench. We have Risa Shea off the bench, LeVert, Mohamed Gay. We have Nikola Jurcevic, who's coming off an injury. He could have played his rookie season. We have a lot of guys on our roster. And I just personally think, I don't think the Hawks don't have that much talent, but more talent can't hurt. You know what? Let me just go ahead and name the players. First up, Ace Bailey. So recently, there's been a lot of talks about him potentially falling in the draft, him not wanting to do interviews or a personal combine with the 76ers, with other teams. So apparently he hasn't done a single workout with any team, meaning he could fall. And I understand that playmaking wise and shot decision wise, he's not the smartest guy on the court. But if he falls to pick 7 or 8, the Hawks should trade up for him. I just think the talent there is just the potential. He literally could be a multi-time all-star. And I don't want us to be so skeptical of the fact that his basketball IQ isn't that high where we just don't trade up for him. If he's there at 7 or 8, do anything you can to trade up for him. Well, okay, not anything, but within your limits. Definitely package 13, 22, add a future first for all I care. I just want to see the Hawks take a risk to be something great. Other than that, the 2 other guys that I would trade up for if I'm the Hawks is the 2 Duke guys, being Mulach. I still don't, how do I not know how to pronounce his name? And then Concapple. Those 2 guys, okay, let's just start with Mulach. He has so much potential in the fact that he just started playing basketball a couple years ago and was great at Duke. His defensive presence was amazing. He could be a lob threat. Trae Young and Dyson Daniels, playmaking wise, would help him get points. And overall, I think the center position in basketball, especially in the NBA, is the most important because it is so scarce that we see you have to have good center play in order to advance in the NBA playoffs. And personally, I think Capella is gone. Now, we could bring him back, but I wouldn't want to if we're paying him more than $20 million a year. I'm pretty sure he's a free agent. And yeah, I would just rather get a cheap rookie versus paying him $20 million. And then Concapple, complimentary wise, he is a great shooter, can finish around the rim, is an okay playmaker for a wing. I just think he has, not only is he have a high ceiling, or sorry, a high floor in the fact that he's, a great shooter and just a good decision maker, but he has a high ceiling too. I think he really can be a 20-point per game scorer. If either of them fall to pick 8 or 9, I think you trade up, even if you have to include both picks. I mean, those 2 are guys that are worth it. I think Concapple is a little bit more worth it to trade up for, but even Mulach, I just see huge potential in him. So those 3 are the 3 that I would trade up for. Here's a couple players that I wouldn't trade up for. First of all, Trey Johnson. I think obviously if he falls to 13, you pick him. I mean, he is just talent. I just don't really know how well he'd fit with the Hawks. He'd be a bench player for the next couple years. And I just think that a player like him might lose a bunch of confidence being off the bench. I think him going to a rebuilding team would be great. I just don't think he fits the Hawks. Because while we do need talent, I also do want a good fit on the team. We've seen the pace. I'm not gonna lie, it might sound stupid. If the Pacers can make and potentially win, because it's tied 3-3, potentially win the NBA Finals, so can the Hawks. Maybe I'm delusional for that, but I think the blueprint's there where if you just have a team that can buy in, then that's all you need. And I just don't think, I don't feel the need to trade up for Trey Johnson. I don't think that's a way of buying in, or that's a player that would really buy in. But talent-wise, if he's there at 13, you take him. Next up, Jeremiah Fierce, obvious reasons. We already have an Oklahoma point guard. Again, if he falls to 13, that is just talent. He could play next to Buffkin. Buffkin can slide to the 2. That'd be a great fit. Otherwise, just don't trade up for him. And then an obvious talent and a center position, Derek Queen. I just think that defensively, the Hawks need another rim protector, one that's really tall. And I just don't think Derek Queen is that. But at 13, that's just good center talent. You take him. I just wouldn't trade up. I wouldn't trade other assets along with 13 to get him. So those are my trade up scenarios, but let's just go realistic. Who would realistically be there at 13 and 22? Let's start with 13. Noah Senge is a very long wing who can play defense. He played overseas, can catch an oop, can make threes. I just think overall, like maybe the talent isn't there for him. Like I don't see a high ceiling, but he's a guy who could buy in off the bench and just be a key contributor if we run like an 8-9 man rotation in the playoffs. Next up, Carter Bryant. I mean, young rookie, defensive minded, shoots 37% from three, and I think that could get even better in the NBA. And then just super athletic, gets chase down blocks, catches oops. I mean, just overall, once again, you're playing with Trae Young. Trae Young will hit you in good positions where you just need to make threes, catch lobs, because Trae's probably the best lob thrower of all time. I don't want to be biased, but that's just my opinion. And I think when it comes to potential, he has the second highest of these four players that I'm about to name, like potential-wise. Now let's go with the most unpopular one that 13 might be a reach, but I think he has the highest ceiling and probably the lowest floor out of all these four players. Will Riley, 6'9", can shoot the ball, just made some incredible plays, not only during March Madness, but the very end of the regular season in college. I mean, I personally, if he was a star, I wouldn't be surprised. Like, even though he's a high ceiling, low floor player, I still see a very good middle ground of him being just a super efficient role player that I would love. And then someone else who's been creeping up, Cedric Coward, just overall athletic. He is a senior. He will be an older rookie, but his measurements were amazing. His speed was amazing. Just everything about him. I just think he can be a great NBA player, and that's what you want at 13. Now, some players that personally I would not pick at 13, even though I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, because all these guys have a lot of talent. First of all, Jakuchonis, I think is very talented, was like projected top 6 for most of the year, but I just don't see Trae, Dyson, and him all kind of fitting, and Buffkin. I just think we have enough playmaking. That's my opinion. Maybe you could always use more playmaking, and that's what the Pacers do. The Pacers have a bunch of playmakers, but I see him as either point guard or shooting guard, and we just don't really need that position. At that position, I think it should be like defenders. Next up, Colin Murray Boyles, I think is a very good prospect, but I just want someone who has promising shooting. Like I'm just kind of done with, I don't want a 6'7" guy who can't shoot. I think there's specific teams that maybe could run that, and maybe the Hawks could, because, Okongwu has stretched out to the three-pointer a lot in this last season, but I don't like him in that role. Like I mostly do like Okongwu when he's getting to the paint. He's like one of the most efficient paint scorers, and I just think the spacing would be weird, but he is like one of the best, if not the best defender, well, outside of like Cooper Flag, in this whole draft. And like, I wouldn't be too mad if we picked him, but just not ideal for me. And then Rasheer Fleming could be a great role player. I just don't see his ceiling being very high. Igor Demon, in my opinion, has a very high ceiling, but again, I just don't know. He's not a very great defender. He's not a great shooter. I just think we should have guys who can play 3 and D very well, and that's just not who he is. And he could end up being a star, and it might look stupid, but for me, for the Hawks' vision, I just don't see it. And then I have to put my Georgia bias aside. Asa Newell, I'm sorry, I don't really want him. I believe in the power forwards that the Hawks have, in Jalen Johnson, if you want to count Riza J as a 4, even though he's more of a 3, in Mohamed Gay. I think there's even one more I'm kind of blanking on, but we have good power forwards. I just don't think he'd get very many minutes. And I like Mo Gay. Like, I like him as a backup 4, and I don't want us to give up on him. And like, it might sound stupid because he could be great, but from what I saw at Georgia, I think it was a great college player. I don't know how good he'll be in the pros, but then again, we haven't seen him next to some elite guard talent. So maybe next to Trae Young, he would be like John Collins. I just personally don't like the shooting. And just the last category for now, players to pick at pick 22. I have Neat Clifford, just overall athletic, catch lobs. I think he's just a very complimentary player. But honestly, he's like probably the least of the 3 that I want. The one I probably want most is Jace Richardson, because we don't really like need a backup guard. Well, we kind of do. That's talent right there. I don't know why. If he fell to 22, like, that would be crazy to me. And I think just talent-wise, he will be a very good backup point guard for a while. Or maybe, I guess, shooting guard, put Buffkin at the 1. Just overall, just scoring. Like, I just watched him in college, and that dude could score, and I think it's going to translate to the league very well. And I think he'll be an all right defender. That's my opinion. Third player, Drake Powell, just straight potential. I see a way that he's just like a really, really good player, even though he didn't really show it too much, in my opinion, at UNC. But then again, you're kind of fighting for minutes, and you're also fighting in the NBA. But I think after a couple years, maybe like 2 whole years in the G League, he'll be a great player. And the Hawks, by the way, have a very good development system of letting the rookies play in the G League their whole first year or two. Some people don't like that, but me, I like that Jalen Johnson had that. Now, okay, this is a little bit of a side rant, but because we didn't see Jalen Johnson's playmaking in the NBA in his rookie season, because he played in the G League, the Hawks thought they didn't have enough playmaking, so they traded for DeJounte Murray. So technically, if we played Jalen Johnson in his rookie year and he showed playmaking ability and we didn't lose that bad to the Heat, maybe we'd be in a better position right now. But I think just overall, the G League idea is very good. And if we picked him at 22, then because we have 10 or 11 guys who could play in the regular season right now, we just send pick 22s to the G League, and then they would develop. So yeah, that's my opinion. how would we win the draft? We'd either trade up for like Colin Knuppel, Mulak, or obviously Ace Bailey. But if we don't do that, my ideal pick 13 probably would be Will Riley or Carter Bryant. You know what? I'll give a straight answer. Carter Bryant at 13, Jace Richardson at pick 22. I think we win the draft. Either that or Will Riley. Honestly, dude, if we get Will Riley at 22, oh, I hope he falls because I think he's absolutely amazing. And like getting him as our second best prospect, I think we would win the draft by far. So what do you guys think? Are you Hawks fans? Are you not? Either way, comment down below if you think it's a good idea. I'll be responding to every single comment. And I'm just so excited for the draft. I think in a couple days after this is uploaded, I'll do the same thing with the Pelicans. I'll try and get as many teams as I can to have 2 picks in the first round before the draft, even though the draft is coming pretty soon. So if you guys enjoyed, like, subscribe. Yeah, comment below, and peace out.